Rumours are going around that Sony is working on PSSR 2.0, bringing even sharper 4K visuals and smoother 60 FPS gameplay. Plus, rumours are heating up about the size of the PS6's RAM, and it might just blow everything else out of the water. Meanwhile, Saros, which is Housemarque's upcoming AAA game, could potentially skip the PS5 console altogether and debut as the very first PS6 launch title. And speaking of blockbusters, Rockstar Games is all but confirming PlayStation's marketing rights for GTA 6, and their second trailer shattered all kinds of records, pulling in gamers, movie buffs, and just about everyone curious to see what all the fuss is about. Bethesda is in hot water with their disgusting, absolutely disgraceful practices of releasing the absolute bare minimum of data to classify it as a physical disc. Death Stranding 2 on the beach is drawing some very big comparisons to a number of the Metal Gear Solid games with its intense action set pieces, and Kojima, who is behind Death Stranding 2, already has plans for Death Stranding 3, but he won't be the one to make the game. We also have Mafia: The Old Country that has revealed more about the game style, the scope and price of the game, and let's just say the cost of the game might shock you. And finally, Alien Rogue Incursion is stepping out of VR and is landing on PlayStation 5 and Steam with a brand new edition, and we've got all the details on what's included. Seriously, this video is packed, so much so that I feel like I should have done a live stream for this. But hey, grab your popcorn, strap in, and let's get started. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have more gaming and PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. As always, a huge shout out to the God of War and Uncharted channel members. And if you enjoyed today's video, please show your support and appreciation by hitting that like button. So we are starting off with the PSSR technology associated with the PS5 Pro. Sony is reportedly working on an upgraded version of the PSSR technology, which stands for PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, aiming to enhance the gaming experience on the PlayStation 5 Pro by delivering higher quality visuals and improved performance. Now, the new iteration, referred to as PSSR 2 or PSSR 2.0, is expected to bring significant advancements to the current upscaling capabilities, with a focus on maintaining a locked 4K resolution at 120 FPS, while also expanding support for other resolutions including 1440p and 1080p. Now, a well-known insider who goes by the name of Moore's Law is Dead recently disclosed in a video that Sony is actively developing PSSR 2 technology, emphasizing that while Sony may not officially announce the feature, the company's objective is to elevate the visual quality and performance across multiple resolutions. The intended goal is to provide a performance mode that enhances upscaling for 4K, 8K, 1440p and 1080p, ensuring that every game can maintain a high refresh rate mode. Sony is also reportedly working on a new feature called MFSR, and that stands for Multi-Frame Super Resolution, which is designed to replace traditional temporal anti-aliasing, which is TAA, with a more advanced AI-driven upscaling technique. The approach would enable games on the PS5 Pro to utilize AI upscaling to achieve higher frame rates without compromising visual quality. Mark Cerny, the lead architect behind the PlayStation 5, hinted back in March during a discussion with Digital Foundry about the next evolutionary step for the PSSR technology. He suggested that Sony is aiming to develop a technology which is comparable to AMD's FSR4, potentially positioning it as a prominent feature for the PlayStation 5 Pro in 2026. This aligns with the current rumors regarding PSSR 2, which is said to incorporate a new, lighter neural network model that demands less frame time to upscale images effectively. This model is expected to deliver superior image quality irrespective of the base resolution, potentially allowing for lower base resolutions than the current 1864p requirement. This would mirror the flexibility seen in other upscaling technologies like Nvidia's DLSS Ultra Performance Mode. The rumored advancements also indicate the next version of the PSSR might not be explicitly marketed as PSSR 2, as Sony could adopt a different branding strategy. The primary focus is on enabling more stable 4K resolution output at 120 FPS, and introducing 8K resolution support at 60 FPS, which are substantial leaps from the existing capabilities. The new upscaler is also expected to address the limitations of the current PSSR, particularly in maintaining consistent performance at higher frame rates. The introduction of MFSR as a potential alternative to TAA could significantly improve image quality even for games that do not utilize PSSR for upscaling. This could position the PlayStation 5 Pro as a more capable console for delivering high-fidelity visuals without the substantial performance hits typically associated with advanced graphical features. The existing iteration of the PSSR upscaler, whilst on the whole has been quite good, with some games achieving impressive 4K visuals at 120 FPS. However, there have been some issues with some games as they struggle to maintain frame rates above 70 to 80 FPS. This inconsistency is likely a driving factor behind Sony's push to refine their technology and optimize the PSSR framework, ensuring that future games can leverage the full potential of the PS5 Pro hardware. As the PS6 looms on the horizon, it's plausible that these upscaling advancements could extend beyond the PS5 Pro and become integral to the next generation of PlayStation consoles. If the rumored improvements materialize, Sony could establish a competitive edge in the upscaling technology space, rivaling other industry leaders like Nvidia and AMD in delivering higher quality visuals without sacrificing the frame rates. I think those of us who follow this type of news around the advancement of upscaling technology pretty much would have expected this from Sony. We know the current PSSR tech is commercial version 1, and we know there will be several versions and revisions internally that the engineers will be consistently testing over a period of time, especially as a team continue their development work on the PlayStation 6. We know PSSR is a progressive technology and will have many revisions and iterations and improvements over time, especially as AI gets better and machine learning technology improves. So that brings me on to another kind of thought process. I wonder if PSSR 2 will be ready and available for the PS5 Pro this time next year. You know why, right? If you know, you know. Let's move on. Speculation around the next generation PlayStation console continues to mount. Industry insiders and tech analysts are beginning to outline what they expect from PlayStation 6. While Sony has yet to officially confirm the development of the PS6, recent discussions have provided some intriguing insights into the potential hardware and software upgrades that could shape the next PlayStation console. Digital Foundry's Alex Battaglia has suggested that the PlayStation 6 could feature at least 24 gigabytes of RAM, a substantial increase from the current PS5's 16 gigabytes. According to Battaglia, the extra RAM would likely be necessary to support advanced machine learning features which could play a major role in enhancing in-game visuals and overall performance. He stated, "I imagine that to enable machine learning features of the next PlayStation, they're going to have more RAM than they currently have. I'm assuming it's going to be about 24 gigs. That's my assumption right now for something like a PlayStation 6. This prediction aligns with the broader trend in gaming technology as companies like Nvidia and AMD continue to push the boundaries of machine learning and AI-driven rendering techniques. In March, AMD launched FSR4, which stands for Fidelity FX Super Resolution 4, a new version of its upscaling technology that was reportedly developed using Sony's PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution algorithms. This development was part of a collaboration known as Project Amethyst, highlighting the growing partnership between Sony and AMD as they look to refine and optimize advanced graphical features for the PlayStation 6. Former PlayStation executive Sean Layden also weighed in on the potential design and format of the PlayStation 6. Layden suggesting that while the gaming industry is moving towards digital content, the PS6 may not abandon physical discs entirely. This hints at a hybrid model that could support both physical and digital formats, offering more flexibility to players. In addition to hardware speculation, upcoming game releases are fueling rumors that Sony is setting the stage for PlayStation 6. One such title is a game called Saros, a sci-fi roguelike developed by Housemarque, the studio behind the critically acclaimed Returnal. Now, Saros was announced during Sony's State of Play event in February, featuring a cinematic trailer that revealed a haunting and mysterious setting. Much like Returnal, Saros is expected to use roguelike mechanics to deliver a story-driven gameplay experience. According to the game's official description, players will navigate a space colony called Carcosa, where each death results in a changing world, but players can upgrade and customize their loadout to come back stronger. The story centers around a strange eclipse that serves as a key element, creating an eerie and captivating atmosphere reminiscent of Housemarque's signature style. With Saros expected to release in 2026, some analysts speculate that it could become a launch title for the PlayStation 6, potentially serving as a showcase for the console's advanced capabilities. The timing also coincides with recent PS6 rumors suggesting that the new console could debut as early as 2027. Now, if this timeline holds, Saros could play a pivotal role in demonstrating the graphical and performance enhancements made possible by the rumored 24 gig of RAM and machine learning features on the PlayStation 6. Returnal was one of the first games to fully utilize the PS5's hardware, demonstrating its SSD capabilities and 3D audio. Saros could perform a similar role for the PlayStation 6, using advanced rendering techniques, machine learning driven upscaling, and AMD's new FSR4 technology to deliver a visually stunning experience. With its compelling narrative and challenging gameplay, Saros has the potential to become a flagship title that defines the PlayStation 6 era, much like Returnal did for the first half of the PlayStation 5. And as we move closer to the anticipated release window of 2027, more information about Saros, the PlayStation 6, its specification, and Sony's broader hardware strategy will likely surface, certainly through leaks and rumors. Until then, we can only guess and speculate about how Sony plans to leverage its collaboration with AMD, its machine learning advancements, and its growing catalogue of exclusive titles to secure its position in the next generation of gaming. When do you think Saros is coming out? Is it going to be a launch title for the PlayStation 6? And when is the PlayStation 6 coming out? Some of you have already commented in recent posts on the channel that you're kind of hoping it's going to be 2028, 29, maybe even 2030. The feeling is we certainly don't need a new PlayStation so soon. But who knows, hey? Let's watch this space. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and let's move on. Rockstar Games has unveiled the second trailer for GTA 6 and the gaming community's absolutely buzzing. Captured entirely in-game on a standard PlayStation 5, the trailer shows a blend of gameplay and cinematic cutscenes, highlighting the game's immersive open-world experience. Notably, the footage was not captured using a PS5 Pro, but rather the standard base PlayStation 5, a console that is now approaching its 5th year on the market. Why do you think Rockstar did that? Why didn't they take advantage of the PlayStation 5 Pro? Part of me thinks it was Rockstar sticking two fingers up to every other studio and saying, hey guys, look at what we can do on a base PlayStation 5 model, especially when you compare what we saw in that trailer against every game we've seen so far that's come out this generation. Hands down, GTA 6 looks absolutely stunning. Rockstar Games is always light years ahead of every other studio. Actually, if there was one other studio that was comparable, personally I would say it's Naughty Dog. The level of detail within their games is just immense. Just my opinion, but if I had to pick another studio comparable in terms of the quality of the games that come out, I would say it's Naughty Dog. Of course, Rockstar Games is bigger, the studio has more developers, and their games are more in depth in terms of the size and scopes of the world. But in terms of the detail, I would say Naughty Dog is comparable. Just my opinion. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Now, the new GTA trailer spotlights Vice City, a location heavily inspired by Miami, which has been a central setting in previous installments, such as the iconic Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Vice City Stories. This time around, players are introduced to Jason Duval, one of the game's leading characters, and Lucia Caminos in a bid to make a name for themselves and some serious cash in the city's sprawling underworld. The trailer also gives a glimpse of other key supporting characters, further setting the stage for what promises to be an epic narrative experience. Rockstar has officially announced that the game is coming out next year, May 26, 2026, exclusively for PlayStation 5 and Xbox consoles. The release of the second trailer proved to be a monumental event for Rockstar Games, as it quickly became the biggest video game trailer launch in history. According to Rockstar, the trailer amassed over 475 million views across all platforms within 24 hours of its surprise release, just shy of 500 million views. Absolutely unbelievable, a staggering figure that surpasses major Hollywood movie trailers. For context, the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer received 365 million views in its first day, while the Fantastic Four First Steps accumulated over 200 million views. The first GTA 6 trailer, which was released exclusively on YouTube, got 93 million views within the same timeframe. Its viewership numbers may have been affected by an earlier leak, but it has since climbed to 255 million views to date. Meanwhile, the second trailer also had a notable impact on its featured music track, the Pointer Sisters' Hot Together, with Spotify reporting a staggering 182,000% increase in streams of the song since the trailer's release. Absolutely phenomenal. In addition to the trailer, Rockstar also shared new character profiles on its official website, diving deeper into the backstories of Jason and Lucia. Jason is portrayed as a man caught between his desire for a simple life and the harsh reality of his criminal background. Meanwhile, Lucia could be a turning point for Jason, for better or for worse, as they attempt to carve out their own path in Vice City's gritty underworld. The game looks so good. I cannot wait to play this when it comes out next year. The trailer we saw running on the PlayStation 5. Can you even imagine how good the game is going to look running on the PlayStation 5 Pro? And just imagine if PSSR 2 technology is out just ahead of the launch of GTA 6. You know Sony is going to market the hell out of the PS5 Pro bundle with PSSR 2 technology and a digital version of GTA 6. It's happening and they're going to sell like hotcakes. Hang on, here's a thought. Can you imagine GTA 6 chugging along on the Series S? If you have a Series S, you guys need to get yourselves on a PS5 Pro, or at the very least get yourself a PS5 or an Xbox base model. Let me know your thoughts, guys, and let's move on. Microsoft and Bethesda are once again drawing criticism, and quite rightly criticism from PlayStation 5 fans, this time over the physical release of Doom: The Dark Ages. This is despicable. This practice is despicable. I cannot stand it. The latest installment in the long-running first-person shooter series is facing backlash for introducing a pathetic 85 megabytes, you heard me correct, 85 megabytes of data on its Blu-ray disc, effectively forcing players to download the majority of the game. 85 megabytes, and they're taking the piss. This revelation comes via Does It Play, and they're a group dedicated to exposing incomplete physical releases. They were contacted by a gamer with screenshots of the game's disc content. This practice is reminiscent of what happened earlier this year with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, another Bethesda published title that required a significant download despite being sold a physical copy. The game contained just 20 gigabytes of data on its disc, with the remainder of the game being delivered via an internet download. The situation has become increasingly common in the gaming industry, with some likening it to Nintendo's Switch 2 game keycards, which also function as a little more than a download code in cartridge form. While the cost of producing physical cartridges for the Switch is notably higher, Blu-ray discs for the PS5 are relatively inexpensive. They cost pennies to make. Critics argue that if publishers are going to sell physical editions, they should be required to include the full game data, particularly in cases where the game's marketing emphasizes a physical release. From a game preservation perspective, this trend is concerning. If physical copies are little more than access points to digital downloads, it does raise questions about the long-term availability and preservation of these games. If servers are shut down or digital content is delisted, players may be left with incomplete games that are essentially unplayable. Sony has yet to address the situation publicly, but fans are calling for stricter guidelines on what constitutes a complete physical release. I mean, in my opinion, what constitutes a physical release is the whole damn game on the disc. The hope is that future PS5 titles, particularly those from major publishers like Bethesda, will avoid this trend and deliver fully playable games on discs, ensuring that physical collectors get the complete experience without relying on digital downloads. This type of move absolutely disgusts me. It's despicable that discs are practically worthless. If this is true, it's an absolute joke. 85 megabytes, isn't that about the same as a floppy disk? I don't know, someone tell me. It's been over 30 years since I used a floppy disk. 85 megabytes. It's pathetic. The guidelines need changing. And if you are releasing a game via disc, then the disc needs to have the whole bloody game. It's that simple. You should be able to insert your disc and play with zero internet connection. That's how it should be if you're buying a physical game. Now, if you insert your disc and there are some changes to the game and improvements and bug fixes, and you want to download the updated patch, that's fine. It's your option to download that and play and improve your gameplay. But the very essence of a physical game is that you can play it straight out the box without an internet connection required to download the game. So if this story turns out to be true, then it's really put me off buying Doom: The Dark Ages. Let me know, guys, if you are planning on picking this up, digitally or physically. Let me know in the comments, and let's move on. Kojima Productions recently hosted a select group of game writers in Tokyo, offering them a chance to experience Death Stranding 2 on the beach ahead of its official release. The general feedback from the gaming media that played between 15 to 20 hours of Death Stranding 2 on the beach say it was a breathtaking experience, and according to early impressions, the game represents a significant evolution for the franchise, taking the foundations laid by the first installment and expanding on them dramatically. Set across the varied landscapes of Mexico and Australia, the game explores the impact of the automated porter assistance system, an AI-driven network that has essentially made protagonist Sam's work obsolete. Thematically, this development is particularly timely, reflecting broader societal concerns about AI and automation replacing human labor. Weather also now plays a crucial role in the game, with elements like heavy rain and powerful winds directly affecting traversal. Players will need to utilize advanced equipment and customizable vehicles to navigate these more dynamic environments. Many of the gaming media outlets were drawing comparisons to the transition between Metal Gear Solid and its sequel, Sons of Liberty, highlighting how the core gameplay mechanics have been significantly upgraded. Combat mechanics have also been overhauled, bringing a tactical espionage feel reminiscent of Kojima's Metal Gear Solid games. Players will also face off against both human enemies and the haunting BT monsters, with an expanded arsenal of weapons and more nuanced stealth mechanics. Camps now serve as points of conflict, similar to those in Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, allowing for diverse combat strategies and approaches. Meanwhile, the online connectivity system that was central to the first game has been expanded, allowing players to build larger infrastructure projects like monorail systems, in addition to ladders and bridges. Social media style likes continue to incentivize cooperation, but a central question looms over the game. Is increased connectivity always a good thing? On the technical side, the game was showcased on a base PlayStation 5 in performance mode. Thus far, early impressions indicate a stable 60 FPS experience, with the potential for even more polished visuals and performance on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And sticking with the theme of Kojima and Death Stranding, the legendary game director has recently revealed that he already has a concept for Death Stranding 3, but he has no plans to make it himself. At the young age of 61, Kojima is currently occupied with multiple projects, including the Xbox exclusive title OD, a new action espionage game for PlayStation, and a movie adaptation. Speaking to VGC, Kojima suggested that the plate gate concept introduced in Death Stranding 2 could open the door for future entries in the franchise to explore different countries and regions. He goes on to say, "If I use this plate gate concept, I could make endless sequels. I don't have any plans to do that, but the concept is there. If someone else wants to take it on, they could definitely expand it." The COVID-19 pandemic also played a significant role in shaping the narrative of Death Stranding 2. Kojima noted that the tagline for the game, "We should not have connected," reflects his evolving perspective on digital connectivity. While the first game emphasized the importance of connection and unity, the sequel questions whether too much connectivity can actually be harmful. Kojima explained that the pandemic underscored the dangers of excessive reliance on virtual interactions, leading to isolation and a loss of genuine human connection. He goes on to say, "What happened was there are now people in our studio who work from home, and I still don't know their faces. Even music concerts became online streaming events. It's not the same as real-world interactions." These reflections led Kojima to rethink the game's narrative, integrating themes that challenge the idea of constant connection and highlight the potential downsides of living in an increasingly virtual world. Kojima also hinted at subtle storytelling elements within the game, such as the changing directions of the strands in the game's logo, a visual cue that players will understand more deeply as they progress through the story. Overall, Death Stranding 2 on the beach is shaping up to be a thought-provoking, visually stunning, and mechanically rich experience that builds on the themes of the original while also offering a fresh, more nuanced perspective on connection and isolation in the modern world. Another game I cannot wait to play. What are your thoughts on Death Stranding 2? The fact that some of the gaming media have played it and they rate it highly, and also it has the MGS vibes, just makes me want to play it even more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and let's move on. Hangar 13 have confirmed that Mafia: The Old Country will not be an open world experience, unlike its predecessor Mafia 3. In response to a query on the game's official FAQ page, the developer clarified that the upcoming game will focus on a linear, story-driven structure rather than a sprawling open world design. And personally, from my perspective, I'm so pleased with that. I'd rather focus on a tight, linear experience where the story is tightly packed in, giving a better overall experience rather than an endless open world game just full of filler content and stuff to do, fetch quests and so on. The decision is a notable shift given that the previous Mafia games featured open maps that allowed for some degree of exploration, though they were not true open world game experiences in the same vein as games like GTA or Red Dead Redemption. The change in design direction appears to be a deliberate effort to tighten the narrative focus from Hangar 13 and the Old Country. Mafia 3 was criticised for its open world segments feeling quite repetitive and lacking depth, breaking up the flow of its otherwise compelling story. With the Old Country, Hangar 13 is aiming for a more cohesive storytelling experience, immersing players in a gripping cinematic journey through early 1900s Sicily. While the trailers have showcased expansive countryside vistas, these areas are intended to serve just as a backdrop for the narrative rather than fully explorable open world zones. Hangar 13 recently released a new gameplay trailer, giving fans a closer look at what to expect. The game is set in the 1900s and follows the rise of Enzo Favara, a young man seeking to earn his place within Don Torrissi's crime family. The trailer highlights brutal, visceral combat sequences involving gunfights, vehicle chases and knife battles, all set against the atmospheric backdrop of the Sicilian underworld. Visually, the game boasts a polished presentation with realistic character models and richly detailed environments that further enhance its cinematic appeal. Nick Baines, president of Hangar 13, emphasized that the shift to a more linear experience allows for greater storytelling depth. That focus allows us to deliver a story that's gritty, grounded, brutal, and emotional. He said that in a press release. Embracing early 1900s era Sicily, this is a Mafia origin story that follows our protagonist Enzo Favara as he takes on the oath and works his way up Don Torrissi's crime family. Now the game is scheduled for release on August the 8th of this year, and get this, the price for this game is $50, £45 in the UK. Can you believe that? £45. What a brilliant price. I can't believe that. I honestly thought it was going to be around £70 or more. It's like Christmas come early. I'm getting this day one, no questions asked. Let me know your thoughts on the Mafia, and let's move on. Survivos is preparing to release a non-VR version of Alien Rogue Incursion later this year. Originally launched as a VR-only title in December 2024, the game was later released for Quest 3 in February of this year. Now, it's set to make its way to PlayStation 5 and Steam in an enhanced version called Alien Rogue Incursion Evolved Edition. The Evolved Edition has been optimized for non-VR gameplay, running in full HD at 60 frames per second. The game will be available in two editions, a standard version and a deluxe version. The deluxe edition includes exclusive blue camo armor and weapon skins, along with a digital art book called The Art of Alien Rogue Incursion. The game's narrative follows Zula Hendricks, a former colonial marine, as she explores the infested Gemini exoplanet solutions facility on the remote planet Purden, alongside her AI companion Davis-01. Zula must battle cunning xenomorphs and uncover the dark secrets hidden within the facility. The VR version of the game received mixed reviews, holding a Metacritic score of 78 for PC VR and 74 for PlayStation VR. With the Evolved Edition, Survivos aims to broaden the game's audience by making it accessible to players who do not own VR headsets. Survivos have also confirmed that Alien Rogue Incursion was always intended as a first part of a two-part narrative arc. The second installment is already in development, promising to continue Zula's story as she faces even deadlier threats. According to the developer, the first part ends on a significant cliffhanger, setting the stage for more intense confrontations in the sequel, where players will further explore the sinister operations of the GES facility and impact on humanity's survival. I mean, it does sound like a decent game. I haven't played it on VR as I don't have a VR headset just yet. That's a whole different story, but hopefully that will change this December as I pick up a PSVR 2. But for now, it's coming to PlayStation 5 later this year, which is great news. I'm going to check it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll catch you on the next video.